I found it very challenging studying abroad in Colombia in particular because I did have to speak another language in order to survive. You don't realise how important language is, even just going to the grocery store, catching a bus, meeting new people, going out for drinks and socialising. So I definitely, in the beginning, found it really difficult to communicate and to express myself. And it was really daunting because Bogota, the city that I was living in, is a lot bigger than the cities that we have here in Australia. It's very disorganised, it's very different to Australia, so that added another element with the language, and sometimes it was a little bit overwhelming to sort of navigate around the city and do normal things like go to the supermarket.
I spent a year abroad, and the first 6 months I spent studying at Charles University in Prague in the Czech Republic. As with all exchange, it's always a challenge to live in a foreign city, and in this case I was living in a foreign city with a very different language as well. And I can still remember when I arrived in Prague in October, it was starting to get cold. I had a big backpack and multiple bags because I was carrying my life with me. And I arrived and felt a bit overwhelmed. And it took a couple of weeks really to find my feet in Prague, because when you go outside, no one really speaks English. Czech, you can't really, even if you speak English, you can't guess from a sign what it's saying. It's very different language roots. And so you do feel a bit lost, I think, to be honest. So I remember a few times hopping on the wrong tram to get home, not being able to pronounce my suburb where I lived, so I couldn't even tell people when I was lost where I had to get to.
I have gotten so much out of this exchange. I have met so many people. I have been faced with so many challenges. There's been so many times I've been faced with a challenge, and I've had to look at it and go, how am I going to overcome this challenge? Finding accommodation was, constantly having to call people, email people, follow up with people. Can I come look at this apartment? Please, can I come look at this apartment? Do you have time today? What about tomorrow? After calling everyone, and I visited probably about 10 apartments, and I was denied 3 apartments, and the rest I was accepted for. And I was then able to make a decision, okay, which ones do I like, price-wise, people-wise. But after I met this man who helped me get this apartment, I knew it was perfect. It was a perfect match. I had 4 girls living with. I actually have 3 sisters, so it was perfect. Wasn't much of a transition from home life, so it was just, I knew it was perfect. When I first got there, I couldn't understand any French. So I'm here listening for 2 hours going, what's this man talking about? I've got no idea. But at the end of each class, I just had to get confident, and I had to ask the people next to me, can I please have some notes? Can I please have your notes? If I give you my email, will you send me all the notes you took today? You've just got to find out everything yourself. There's no point of contact. You've got to talk to people, ask around, email, call. And sometimes they just don't have the time for you, so you've just got to hopefully turn up and hope that's it. One of the biggest culture shocks I found was the sun doesn't set until about 10 o'clock at night. So I'll come home from work at 7 after nannying. I come home from work, I'll sit around, I might meet some friends for a beer or a wine, come home. You don't eat dinner until about 10 o'clock, you don't go to bed until about midnight. And so you don't sleep as much because then you wake up early for class.
When I was on exchange, I was definitely struggling with, or it was a challenge for me to figure out where I belonged in the local ecosystem, because there aren't a lot of foreigners who do exchange in the engineering school that I went to, and so it's kind of like a sink or swim concept. And so I had to ask a lot of questions, I had to observe, I had to figure out how to fit in. I thought it was perfectly okay to sort of rock up to class on time, give or take 5 or 10 minutes. And in France, you do not do that. Classes last for 3 hours. You have a break in the middle to fill up your water bottle, do the necessary activities, and you are there 5 or 10 minutes before class starts. And it took me a long time to get that, and it took me a long time to kind of establish a rapport with my classmates, because I was no longer in an auditorium of 200 students. I was in a classroom with 10 other people taking the same major as me, so not very many. And having that rapport with your classmates and now my colleagues is really, really important.